What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video. I got a quick one for y'all, just some initial Liliam testing, and unfortunately guys, I think a lot of y'all might be a bit underwhelmed, but stay tuned. I'm going to talk about everything, how she worked for PvE, initial testing in PvP, should you pull for her. We're going to cover all that, but just to catch y'all up on how my summons went, I actually did one tapper in my very first 10x summon, guys. I got her in one 10x pull, and I got the new character Lilu. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they actually changed the name. I thought it was like Nell or something. Nilu, excuse me, Nilu. But I thought her name was like Nell. Anyways, I got one copy of Liliam and Nell very early, 110 pull. And then what did I do, guys? I said, let me just, I got so lucky. Let me try for a few more copies. I'd really like to get this crit chance for some other builds. And I ended up hitting the next two. So I'm still grateful I got one copy very early in a single 10x pull. But yeah, just if you guys missed my Yelly pulls, I was not very lucky on these either. So my recommendation is, yeah, do not whale out unless you are super rich or something. Because I think more often than not, like, I don't know, I just pity so many of these characters. And a lot of the people I talk to also just pity a lot too. So just a forewarning. But don't worry about this set, guys. Don't worry about this shell. I did a bunch of testing. Now let's just go ahead and start with, is Liliam worth summoning for? In my honest opinion right now, the answer is no. I think you want to sit tight and wait. Her damage is actually so questionable at the moment that a lot of players are wondering if it's bugged, because the multipliers look good, her attack scaling looks good. On paper, she seems like an insane unit, but in practice, and I know I've tried different sets. I've been trying Revelation, I've been trying Count, I've seen people try Law of Silence, and even on like full cleave builds, okay, her damage doesn't seem great. And don't worry, I understand. I think I've come to the conclusion of how I like her and how I think I am going to make her work pretty well. So stay tuned for that. But no, I don't think she's a cleave unit. I think the damage is actually pretty midline, like mediocre. And I think you're better off trying her in a different style because, yeah, the damage is just not impressive. Now, in terms of the prowess, I did max out skill 3 and I did max out skill 1. And the reasoning for that, guys, is because the skill 1 is going to give you that turn meter minus effect ability. And I think that's actually very important if you plan to bring her against like crowd control units. Not only that, you get some attack percent too, right? So it's pretty good overall. And I actually think her S1 is not bad. The recovery percentage in some bruiser matchups, hitting that S1 heals like 15%, 10 to 15% of your life. And it's pretty good. The skill 3, I would say I did next because 1, you get the skill cooldown, and I get the speed, which I really like from my build. Stay tuned. I promise I'll show you all the build. Now, the damage multiplier is actually quite important because without any lattice, the midline damage I'm talking about, guys, is already with this S3 maxed. If you don't max this, the damage is like pathetic. It's terrible. Now, that shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of y'all. Apex characters in general need a lot of lattice, of course, right? Look at Yelly, look at Messiah, or sorry, just any DPS general, and any DPS class in general needs a lot of lattice is what I meant to say, and she's no exception. Now the S2 I think is also very important. I need this next, guys. I'm just completely out of lattice, but 2 more lattices here, and honestly I think it's pretty good too, because the more I play her, being able to stun at a higher percent health is very, very important. And it's going to be one of the main ways I play her. But not only that, I get this very important crit chance, and I'm going to show you my final build here and why I need that crit chance. But yeah, I think the extra damage plus the stun multiplier, and then you get more stun or final damage boost as well. I think that's actually going to make S2 hit much harder, and maybe we'll complete the kit where, at least me and a lot of people are considering her damage a little bit underwhelming. Now, the crazy part is, guys, I'm actually going to be lowering her damage. So, number 1, I tested different builds in PvE. I tried Count, I tried Revelation, I tried White Fang. In general, guys, it's okay. I don't think she's going to be beating out a D-Ting. But if you want to rock her, I think she could definitely, with like good investment, do a bunch of the basic shells and threshold bosses, I'm pretty sure, with the exception of probably you don't want to bring her to like Doki Doki since she's all single target. But I could see her doing some decent damage to like Teramaton, maybe Aurora, and of course things like Nico Nana, she will obliterate. Now, I think, like I said, D-Ting and Yelly, of course, are going to be just much better in general. They're going to do higher damage per second. She's really not meant for damage, okay? So that's one thing I want to make clear. So for PvE, I don't think she's anything special to write about, but she does enough damage. And, her cycling on S3, her speed uptime, attack buff uptime is very good. So I think for those reasons, she could be decent in PvE, but don't pull this if you just want a PvE like powerhouse, okay? Just keep using your D-Ting. Instead, you know, you should be using like something like a Yelly. I don't think she's it for PvE. Now, real quick, for PvE, I don't think like... I don't think Revelation is very good. Once again, Keen Eye Revelation. She doesn't do enough multi-hits. I would just run something like either the Count, whatever you have the better version of the Count, or like some White Fang set. I think we'll do just fine. Something like this. As long as you can provide enough debuffs. So yeah, just this is not a PvE focused video though, because I don't think she's going to be a very good PvE unit. But just in case, yeah, I would say try to avoid things like Revelation, try to avoid things like Keen Eye. She doesn't proc enough multi-hits. So just give her something like Onslaught, maybe something like Momentum if you can provide enough debuffs. And I think Fury is still great. And then just, you know, of course, stack as much damage and crit chance as possible. And then I think she'll do well enough, right? She's nothing special to write home about, but once again, the speed up time, the S3 up time, the attack up is pretty good, so she can do all right there. Now let's get to what I want to share with y'all, and that is my current PvP build that I had some decent success with, but unfortunately it is not complete, and I'll tell you why it's not complete just yet. But let's go ahead and scroll up here. Where is the Liliam? All right, I call it Liliam speed. Now guys, this is actually a gigabyte build on 1212. We ignore the extra ability, and let me tell you why I like this. Now, a big shout out to FPS Shoddy. He's the one that gave me the idea of gigabyte. I think most people would have preferred something like, you know, Law of Silence. Maybe I've seen actually people rock things like Codex of Magic. I saw, you know, of course, the Count would have been one of my go-tos, but gigabyte actually, in just my initial testing, worked very, very well. Now, the speed you have on here is also important with the gigabyte, because if anyone tries to, you know, in a lot of bruiser versus bruiser matches, someone might try to pick up like a cheeky Yelly at the lower ranks, like D-Ting, things like that, because they think you're going to be too slow. And I feel like this could really surprise people, and you can one-shot those squish units. But the main reason, I think besides that, the speed up isn't, the speed here is not too important, and I may end up dropping some speed for more damage if I need it. But in general, I like this build because of the insane cycling. Now, the reason, though, that it's not complete, if you can see here, guys, is the 82% crit. And that's why I was saying, once I get the skill 2 here for the extra 12%, it's going to look a lot nicer, right? We're still not looking perfect, but that's going to be around 94. And if I can get that to 95, 96, I'll feel a lot more comfortable with her. But overall, the build is extremely quick. It cycles extremely fast. And on Bloodbath, she'll have enough survivability, as long as it's not something like a Revelation Yelly, a Revelation Messiah. She can really do well against a lot of the other bruisers. She's going to cycle insanely fast because of the speed, because of the gigabyte. If you haven't seen how much gigabyte value you get in PvP, it is actually insane. So for those reasons, I think this build is actually really good if you try to pick her only into those bruiser versus bruiser matches, or in my opinion, still her best case scenario, guys, is obviously picking her into players that bring a lot of crowd control. So don't pick her super early. Try to let your opponent pick some of those powerful units like Kazuo, like Obol. They're still extremely good, especially now that Revelation got nerfed. The main archetypes are going to be things like Control and then Bruisers. So I think she can work well into both of those matchups. We just got to build her in a very specific way. And I still need more time to test this because, well, like I keep saying, the damage is low. And then my low damage build here is not helping that at all. Now, the build is actually not that bad, guys. It is still a decent amount of damage, and my subs are pretty okay, honestly, too. Even though my attack is low, it's because I don't have a single attack main stat. But the crit damage into crit rate, and then once I get the crit rate right to like around 94, 95, it's actually, she does okay. Now, against other Bloodbath units, if she's like the only DPS, it's a little rough. But I think once I up the crit, and then potentially, I'm also thinking about dropping things like this Shadow Dash. And then once, you know, of course, I get like a red Overclock plus a red Blade of Disorder, I think we could actually be cooking here. I'll show some gameplay, or hopefully I've already been showing you some gameplay of how it should be working. I did fight a few matches where we won some, we lost some, but it did kind of, you know, I could see the vision of where this could work. Now, unfortunately, though, overall, guys, this is a lot of lattice, a lot of gear, and a lot of, you know, the extra 2 dupes for a character that is not really feeling like a powerhouse like I think she should. I feel like she's lacking a little bit of damage. Like, even if she just had a little bit of a damage buff, I think it would go such a long way. But I don't know if this was intended. I don't know if it's actually bugged. But just be aware, if you guys don't fully invest in this unit, like all the other Apexes, she's going to feel even worse than normal. And even when fully invested, she still will not hit nearly as hard. But I think as long as we keep in mind, right, the overall strengths of Liliam is the anti-crowd control, the anti-turn meter push, the what do you call it? The destruction or destroy, I think in Summoner's War is what they call it. In Epic 7, we call it injury, that she has on her kit as well. And the fact that she can ignore shields, I think, is also insane utility. And once we max out this S2 to start cycling stuns, because I'm going to be taking so many turns, I do think she will be a powerhouse. But it's just not that kind of powerhouse unit that a lot of people want. People want someone that can one-shot very easily. People that want someone that just does a ton of damage. And I don't think, really, if you try to build her for damage, it's going to work out. So I think this is a unit, though, that I could make work for my own playstyle. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you stop in by the live streams this week. As soon as I get 2 more lattice, I think her build would be close to complete. And I'll let y'all know as time progresses. I'll have another video out very soon with my final results on my testing. We'll climb higher in PvP. I'll test more other players, other builds, and then I'll have her final build finished. But for now, I cannot recommend any of y'all to pull. Just sit tight and let's go ahead and see if her damage is indeed bugged or if it's intended. And if it's intended, then wait to see, because yeah, I think a lot of people unfortunately are going to be very underwhelmed. At least I've seen a lot from initial testing, from initial comments. But I do like her kit overall. I think this kind of unit is very intuitive, or not intuitive, but very in tune is what I meant to say. It's not intuitive at all. In tune with my own play style. So I think I can make her do some very cool stuff for at least how I draft and play in PvP. Anyways, I'll leave that to y'all. It's very late here. Yeah, just stop by the live streams if you want to see more testing of this, but don't pull yourself. Let me and other people test it. And yeah, it might end up being that she's not, you know, the most amazing unit like we all predicted. All right, guys, I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.